Hi, Emily here from CURRENTBODY. Here I am again with another battle of the cleansing devices. There have been a number of contenders released into the market recently who are fighting for Clarisonic's crown, and one of them is the Clinique Purifying System brush. So this is the Clarisonic Aria and this is the Clinique brush, and I'm going to do a comparison of their similarities first before I talk about their differences. Now, both brushes are waterproof, so the handles are completely waterproof and can therefore be used in the shower. Both have removable brush heads, which do need to be replaced every 3 months, and of course there is a cost incurred with that. So the Clarisonic has a number of options when it comes to brush heads, and if you'd like to learn about those, you can click here to see my video about all the available options. This is the sensitive brush head that I'm using at the moment. Now, the Clinique brush at present only has one brush head. It is slightly different to the Clarisonic. The Clarisonic is all flat and it's one sort of standard length of bristles. But with the Clinique brush, you've got a sort of slanted, tilted bit at the top here, which is designed for the T-zone. Now, as far as how the brushes feel, the bottom of the Clinique brush head is quite soft, feels very nice. The top of it is harder, the green section here, and I think that's because it's designed to really sort of be tilted into those crevices around the nose and the oily areas around the T-zone, that sort of thing. Now, this Clinique brush only has one speed. The Clarisonic Aria that I've got here has got 3, but there are various different Clarisonic models which all have differing speeds. You can buy the Mia, which has got 1 speed, Mia 2, which has got 2, then the Aria and the Plus, which have got 3. So obviously this is more basic, of course, so you don't have the option of those speeds available, but perhaps it'd be something that Clinique come out with in the future. And now to talk about their differences. So, I've touched on that briefly, but one of the things that I love about my Clarisonic is the fact that I can really tailor it to my skin's differing needs. So I do find that my skin care routine is different in summer than it is in the autumn, and different again in the winter. And what I like about the Clarisonic is the fact that I can choose the different brush head that I want. So once a week I take this brush head off and I use the deep pore brush head to give my skin a really deep cleanse. I also in the morning use one of the Luxe brush heads because it's softer and more gentle and I don't have makeup to remove. So I can tailor my skincare routine to suit what I want at a different time of day, that sort of thing. Obviously with the Clinique brush head only having the 1 speed and the 1 brush head available, although I'll be surprised if Clinique don't release more brush heads in the coming weeks or months. It is, less tailorable to your skin's different needs. This is very much a one-stop suits all. And it might be fine for the majority of people, but perhaps for people with more sensitive skin who need a softer brush, that sort of thing, they'd be better off looking at the Clarisonic where they can buy delicate brush heads and that sort of thing. Obviously there's a difference in price. So this is one of the main reasons I think why a lot of people have been looking at the Clinique brush as an alternative to the Clarisonic brush, is that it is markedly cheaper. So currently in the UK this retails at £79. Now the Aria model that I've got here retails at £155. However, if you buy a Mia 2, that's considerably cheaper. We sell it for £120. And if you are to look around and look for a Mia 1, they're even less. So if you were looking at the 1 speed Mia price and the 1 speed Clinique price, actually there's not a huge difference between the two. So obviously there is a big difference in the way that they're made, technologically wise. Now, I do know a lot about Clarisonic, and those of you who have seen my other videos will know that I am a Clarisonic fan. And part of the reason that I love it is that I know it has been very cleverly crafted and very put together by a series of scientists in America. They are hand assembled in America, and the reason they have the price tag that they have is because there's been a lot of research and a lot of time put into Clarisonic to develop them to what we see here today. So the way that the Clarisonic works is that the central bristles here in the middle oscillate at 300 movements per second. So that's where the sonic comes in. So they move side to side and they flex the pore very gently, and that releases all that trapped oil and dirt and debris. And because you're using it with water, then the water comes in and it flushes away all those nasties that you don't want on your skin. So the handle of the Clarisonic brush doesn't vibrate at all. The movement is entirely in these oscillating brush head bristles in the middle of the brush there. And Clarisonic, when they developed the device, they put in a lot of research into the optimum number of movements per second. So 300 is Lower than that is not enough to get the vigorous cleanse that you need. Higher than that can damage the skin's elasticity. So that's what Clarisonic has their patent on, is the 300 movements per second. And it's very specific, and it is quite a watertight patent as far as I'm concerned. So that is how the Clarisonic brush works. Now, when we're talking about the Clinique brush head, the way that this works is that the handle vibrates. That's it. So the handle vibrates, and the brush head is then therefore vibrated because of the fact that it's attached to it. So a lot of people compare Clarisonic to like an electric toothbrush for your face, but this really is a bit like an electric toothbrush for your face. It simply vibrates, and the brush head therefore vibrates as well. So that's kind of the kind of drawback to it for me. I trust Clarisonic when I put it on my face. I know that there's been a lot of research gone into it, and I'm sure there's been a lot of research into the Clinique device as well. But to actually put them on the same stage, like I'm doing now, and compare them is a bit unfair, because they are an entirely different technology. They're not really all that comparable. And there are other devices that use sonic technology on the market that are comparable to the Clarisonic, but I don't really think the Clinique is one of them. I think it might be worth testing the Clinique out. If you don't want to spend as much money as a Clarisonic costs, and of course, we are all aware of spending on something like that that's purely for personal using is a luxury item. If you want to spend less, do look around at the other sort of copycat items on the market. There are some fantastic copycats. They're not the same. They don't use that same technology, the same oscillating brush heads, but they do vibrate, and they certainly are, great to use in your skin. They're better to use than nothing. But I would suggest that look around at the other different models that are available that use that similar vibrating technology and may in fact cost slightly less than the Clinique brush. So overall, I am leaning towards the Clarisonic. However, as I said, if you don't want to spend that much money and you're looking for a sort of basic model, then, by all means look at the Clinique, but do make some comparisons to what else you can find out there.